Guys, I am your master teacher at Educational Foodies and I am Kingsuk Panda, your biology teacher at Educational Foodies. So before starting the video, I would like to mention that like the video, share the video, comment on the video to let me know what your doubts are, what you want to be clear about, and make sure to subscribe our channel, press that bell icon to get the latest notifications from our daily channel updates. So we are going to study something about the origin of life today and how life evolved on earth and how we evolved gradually from phase to phase. So let's begin. So at first we have this thing, origin of life on earth. So how did life origin on earth? So first of all, what we have to learn is that what life is truly. So we have to get on the definition of life. So let's get on the definition. So basically life is defined as the state of being alive manifested by growth, reproduction and endowed with evolutionary potential. I repeat, life is defined as the state of being alive manifested by the growth, reproduction and endowed with evolutionary potential within a living organism. Now why do I prefer this definition of life, that is this one? So the thing is that it is a normal definition, it is a simple definition and it's truly endowed with the definition of life. And I should say that one can just write this definition and I will just say that life cannot be defined particularly, but it's a simple definition to know what particularly life is. Now we move on to the basic properties of life and their differences and how to discuss them. So the first property of life is that definitive or definite form and size. So actually there are few exceptions, like I must say, just like you say, exceptions are amoeba. Now amoeba does not possess a particular shape, it just possesses certain things and properties that with the help of which it can shape its or what should I say, shape itself and changes shape to one to another. So there are exceptions, but mostly their life is a property in which definite form and size can be seen. Well, there can be misunderstandings that means if we say that definite form and size, one might just ask me that does it mean that it will not grow? The living organism does not grow, but it is not the case. You must see that it does not mean that a living organism does not grow, but it means that the outline of its body, that means the shape of the body remains the same, constant, and not the dry weight of the organism, since growth means increasing dry weight of the organisms, but the dry weight of the organisms may change or may not change. It does not matter in this particular topic actually, but or in this particular point, that is the definite form of size or shape, but you should not misunderstand that. And let's move to the next point, that is movement and locomotion. Oh sorry, that was reversed. Anyways, movement and locomotion. Now in case of movement and locomotion, we have two types of movement. That means in protoplasmic organism, that means in unicellular organism actually, and in multicellular organisms. Now in case of unicellular organisms, that means unicellular organisms, like you can just say that amoeba or just any other thing, we just find that their protoplasm moves actually. When they move, that means their protoplasms move. But in case of multicellular organisms, we find that their protoplasm but does not move, but they themselves move their parts. That means like us humans move our hands, move our legs, but that does not mean we are moving the protoplasm itself. We are moving entire parts. You see the difference? So movement in unicellular organism means movement of protoplasm, and movement in multicellular organisms means movement of entire body parts. So here we go. Now for the third point, that is metabolism. It is a very unique and important character of life, and that will be discussed now. So first of all, what we need is the definition of metabolism. So metabolism is defined as the sum total of the biochemical changes in a twofold process of waste and repair of the protoplasm is known as metabolism. the sum total of biochemical changes in a twofold process of waste and repair of the protoplasm is known as metabolism. So here we go. That means that metabolism is mainly divided into two parts or two processes. So here we are with that metabolism is divided into two separate processes, that is catabolism and anabolism. Now focusing to the catabolism. Now what does catabolism mean? Catabolism means complex compounds to simple ones. It is really simple to understand. That means the complex compounds formed within the body are transferred into the simple compounds by degenerating or destruction of the complex compounds. You see this. And anabolism literally means simple ones, that means simple compounds to complex ones. I hope there is no doubt in understanding this. So let's move. So the fourth point, which is an important differentiator or property of life, is nutrition. So how can we define it? So here's what I found. So here is the definition: the process of absorption of soluble food and its assimilation into the protoplasmic substance by certain successive processes is known as nutrition. I hope you have no trouble in understanding the same. That is the processes of absorption or absorption of soluble food. You see, soluble food. What are soluble foods? Soluble foods means you see your carbohydrate is broken down into smaller segments. Now this smaller segment is known as soluble food, not your carbohydrate. Now anyways, so the soluble food is dissolved into your protoplasm and is taken in by your protoplasm, and what does it do? It assimilates it. That means it takes in it and then assimilates it. That means uses it down, and this is occurred by a successive line of processes. That means it can be intake, that means you see ingestion, digestion, then absorption, assimilation, and egestion. These are the main processes including in human digestion. So let's move on to the different thing, the next thing. So the next important thing is response to stimuli, which is the most important thing in the world to know as the property of life. So it is also known as irritability. You should write that down. So it is irritability. I'm sorry to pronounce it wrongly the previous time. Anyways, let's move on. So I have written down a good definition for irritability. That is the capacity to respond through internal changes to various exciting agents, that is stimuli, is commonly known as irritability. Just write it down. Don't focus on the animations. Okay. Fine. Let's go. So the next most important topic is reproduction. Now, life means reproduction. You see, life without reproduction cannot be told as life. So everything reproduces. Not a single thing remains unreproduced to maintain its species. So this is the thing. Reproduction is another main point. Put it down. So this is a key definition of heredity. The transfer of parental characteristics to the young ones is called heredity. Now the carrier is DNA, we all know that, and the perfect carrier to be said are genes, which are located in the chromosome region. So let's move on. So the next point is growth and development, which is a very important point, and we will know what is growth and what is development. So growth may be simply defined as the increase in dry weight of the body. Many of you might have confusions what is dry weight. So dry weight is simply the weight which is endowed or which is devoid of anything else rather than your perfect protoplasm, and it is called the dry weight. So the weight of your protoplasm is maybe told as the dry weight, though your protoplasm is not dry, but it's told so. So let's move on. So development may be just said as the overall advancement of an organism in case of say size, weight, mental health or physical health, etc. Any sort of advancement in the body is known as development. Even growth is a part of development. We must note that. So the last character of life is life cycle itself. Now life cycle is necessary to keep as a point, since life means death, and life means advancement, life means growth, life means development. Everything is accounted in this thing, this point say. So it is constituted of birth, then growth and development, in mental growth, mental development, then physical growth and development, then sexual development characteristics, and finally, after all the life cycle goes on to death. Last phase of life cycle is death. This is all for today, and it's ending the chapter over here. So I hope you liked the video. Share the video, comment on the video, and let me know what you think about me. And as always,